Okay, let's talk about data. It is literally everywhere, right? It's like this huge, invisible ocean of information all around us. But here's the thing. All that information is pretty useless if you can't actually get to it. So today, we're going to learn the secret language that lets you speak directly to that ocean of data.
So, that brings us to the big question. Companies are storing just insane amounts of information online. We're talking terabytes. But how does a normal person, someone in marketing or sales, anyone who isn't a coder, how do they ask for one very specific piece of information? How do you just ask the machine a question and get a simple, clear answer back?
Well, to get to that answer, we kind of have to look at how we got here in the first place. See, the way we store information has totally changed, and that's created a whole new kind of problem. I mean, think about it. It really wasn't that long ago that all the important stuff was in actual, physical filing cabinets. You could literally walk over, open a drawer, and grab a file. Simple. But now, all that information lives in these massive online databases. So you got to stop thinking of them like a cabinet and start thinking of them more like a giant, sprawling digital warehouse, all built with really complex code.
And this is where a really special, super powerful language comes in. And to help you really get a feel for it, we're going to use a simple analogy that I promise will make everything just click. That language is called SQL, which stands for Structured Query Language. Now, you might hear people say SQL, or you might hear them call it SQL. It's the same thing, doesn't matter. What does matter is that it is, without a doubt, the universal language for talking to databases, period. You want to pull data, change it, add new stuff, you got to speak SQL.
Okay, so let's really bring this to life. I want you to imagine our database is a giant warehouse, and it is filled to the ceiling with every single Lego piece you can possibly imagine. Now, the different types of data, things like customer names, product prices, those are like the neatly organized filing cabinets inside that huge warehouse.
And this brings us right back to our original problem. But now we're in our Lego world. How do the regular Lego people, the mayor, the doctor, the shop owner, how do they get the exact files they need from this massive, complicated warehouse if they have no idea how it was all put together?
Well, they've basically got two options. Option one is the hard way. You could build a whole separate storefront, like a custom app, just to get to the files. That's going to be expensive and it takes forever. Or there's the smart way. You just hire a specialized translator who already knows the warehouse inside and out and speaks its language perfectly.
And that's where we meet Sally SQL. She's our friendly translator, our personification of SQL. See, Sally knows this warehouse like the back of her hand. And if you can just learn how to talk to her, she can get you anything you need, instantly.
Okay, so how do you actually talk to Sally? What does this language even look like? Let's check out a couple of really simple requests.
So, let's say the Lego mayor wants a list of all his citizens. Look how simple this is. He just tells Sally, select the name column from the Lego people table. That's it. It's almost like plain English, isn't it? You just say what you want, and then you say where to find it.
All right, let's build on that a little. Now a Lego doctor comes along and needs something a bit more specific. She needs a list of all citizens who are taller than 3 centimeters. The request is almost identical, but with one extra little piece. Select name from the Lego height table where the centimeter value is greater than 3. That little where part, that's the magic sauce. That's how you filter everything down to exactly what you need.
And just like that, Sally zips into the warehouse and comes back with just 2 names, Sarah and Craig. Why? Because they're the only 2 Lego people who met the doctor's specific criteria. See how that works? It's precise, it's super fast, and it is incredibly powerful.
But wait, there's more. Sally can do a lot more than just fetch information. She's a full-service translator. You can also ask her to actually change what's inside the warehouse. So, besides just asking for stuff, there are 3 other main commands you need to know. First, you can use insert to, say, add a brand new Lego person named Joe to a table. Simple enough. Then, when Joe has a birthday, you can use update to change his age from 12 to 13. And finally, if poor Joe moves away, you can use delete to remove him from the records altogether. The big takeaway here is that SQL gives you total control to not just read, but also manage all of your data.
So, why have we spent all this time talking about Sally and this Lego warehouse? Well, let's zoom out for a second. Because honestly, understanding this language is one of the most valuable skills you can possibly learn, especially if you don't think of yourself as a tech person. Okay, so here are the 3 big things to remember. First, if you're in business, marketing, sales, anything like that, SQL is pretty much the one technical-ish language you should seriously think about learning. Second, different databases might have tiny variations. Think of them like little accents, but the core language is the same. And third, it's designed to talk to a specific kind of database, called a relational database, which is just a fancy way of saying data that's organized neatly in tables with rows and columns, which is most business data.
And this is a really big deal. Why? Because pretty much every single company you can think of stores its data in a database like this. So, if you know how to speak directly to that database, you can get answers for yourself. You can analyze trends. You can become so much better at your job, it's not even funny. Instead of waiting for someone else to run a report, a marketing manager could just ask, hey, how many customers from California bought our new product last month? That is the kind of power we're talking about.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Just for a second, forget about the code, forget about the syntax. Just think about the possibilities. If you could ask your company's data any question you wanted, what would you ask? What answers do you think are sitting right there in that digital warehouse, just waiting for someone like you to come along and finally ask the right question?